football. As far as one of the bigger topics regarding college football was NIL, so name, image, and likeness. Obviously, people know that players are now allowed to make money off of their name, get sponsors, things along those lines. So, Elijah, how do you think that? What do you think that impact will be, on the college football season going forward?
Yeah, no, I think you're already beginning to see some of the larger deals come out and certain players, sign or ink bigger deals. So I think maybe just in the short term, you're going to see. I'm not sure the immediate impact as far as the short term, other than the kids get paid. But when you can expand it out a couple of seasons, I do think it's going to have a big impact when it comes to kind of like the schools booster class, I should say, or the school's alumni, and what packages they could kind of put together for the kids behind the scenes. I kind of think that's gonna be kind of become one of those type of games. And obviously, players themselves could go out and find deals outside of that. But I do think there's going to be certain kind of, hey, if you come to this school, X, Y, and Z companies are going to have a certain interest in you automatically. So right. I think we're going to begin to see those partnerships. So that's kind of how I see it playing out long term.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What do you guys, James, Devin, and Travis? What are y'all's thoughts just on what that landscape will kind of look like now? I mean, they're saying there's fears that kids might get in trouble and be missing practice to go do shoots at the nearby dealership, or just kind of get it too big of a head and think they're more than the team. And I personally feel like it'll be the opposite in a sense. I feel like, a lot of kids will be able to just make money, and, a lot of kids are playing college ball, for the name on the front, but I think it'll just be more motivating, help these players, essentially play at a higher level, because they'll be able to, profit off of their performance essentially. So what do you guys think?
I guess my take on it is I think it actually ended up being, good for the game. I mean, it's not really going to necessarily impact, I don't think it's going to impact the big schools that get in their recruits, because the best recruits are already going to go to those schools. But I think what it could impact is kind of luring some of those big recruits to other schools, because, you get like your Alabamas, your Clemsons, like if they're starting, they're some of those guys are already, locked in some of those deals. Maybe that deal isn't going to be as good for you coming in. So, you see another school that's, maybe in that same conference, or maybe it's even a mid-major or something, you see, they have a deal for you that, you can get just as much money as a starter would, and you're not, you're a freshman coming in, not guaranteed a spot. Maybe that could lure you, and you're obviously like a 4 or 5 star recruit. You think, I'm going to come in there and I will be a starter so I can get, even more money. And then, so I think that could benefit some of the smaller schools. So I think it's really just how they play it. Really just have to play their cards right,
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, I think instead of seeing Bama just 4 years in a row, 5 years in a row, just winning it all. I mean, I think this will kind of level the playing field a little bit. I think a couple different schools might be able to sneak in there that we didn't really think would be in the mix in the playoff, or whatever it looks like. Making it a bigger ball games because of their being able to draw kids in for more than just cool uniforms and a nice campus and nice weight room. They'll literally be able to offer stuff that's going to help that player make money. So, Devin, Travis, what do you guys think on that?
I think it impacts it even more so in college basketball, right? Because there's so many more teams and so many more smaller schools that you got. Again, as a team like Grand Canyon going to come in and win the NCAA tournament? No, but is it going to make it a little more competitive as far as recruiting go? Absolutely. And are these kids going to have a better opportunity to make some money? If you go play basketball at Grand Canyon University, you're not doing it because you're going to go to the NBA, right? You're doing it because you love the game of basketball, and you're going to get an education out of it. And now you can put a little money in your pocket to kind of jumpstart you. Maybe not have so much, maybe be able to get a down payment on a house, or, whatever the case may be. So I think it's great. And I think in college basketball, it's going to be huge.
Yeah. I just want to say, out of all schools, you named off Grand Canyon.
Grant, I've been up. I watched a lot of Grand Canyon University basketball games, betting on them the last couple of years, and not a bad place.
I believe it. I've seen your basement. You got like what, 4 or 5 TVs down there, all just
Double.
ESPN 1, 2, ESPN the Ocho. You got all the games put on Saturdays. So
Yep.
It's a big Antelopes guy. Go Antelopes.
yeah. But no, one thing I was gonna say too is like it's gonna be kind of interesting to see, like, I was just naming off a couple like college basketball players that were just like legends in college but couldn't make it to the next level. I don't know, so maybe like one guy that kind of comes to mind is like a Scotty Reynolds from Villanova. Was just like a stud. Like Jimmer Fredette, like stud in college, like but just couldn't, game didn't transit to the next level. There's opportunity for guys to just kind of like be like college like legends, just make a couple mil.
Johnny Manziel would have been perfect.
Yeah, like make a few years and make a few mil in a few years. So like, what do y'all think? Like, thinking back to all the players we kind of grew up watching, football or basketball, like, who do you think would have really cashed out, like really, really made some good change, like back in the day?
Number one, Johnny Manziel, I think.
Yeah.
I would say Reggie Bush, but he kind of already did cash out. So,
Yeah. But imagine.
Like Eli said, about the big money schools with a lot of boosters and a lot of money, like Notre Dame, Texas, Michigan. They already get the best recruits, so it's not going to change much at all. Mm-hmm. What I'm worried about is now the NCAA has no business being involved in college football or college basketball. They have no reason to be there.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to branch out. All the big schools, Power 5 schools, majority of them are going to branch out and create their own league, and get no scholarships, no nothing. That they'll do whatever they want, basically, and almost professionalize it.
Yeah, as they should. We all know. Yeah, go ahead, Elijah.
Yeah, I was going to say I could see this path leading towards that. When you consider the leagues are kind of dissolving and breaking up, and kind of consolidating anyway. So when you do that as much, you're going to end up with a few leagues anyway that you could easily flip into a few TV deals, and kind of the players do their own endorsements along with the help and assistance from the schools. But I could easily see that us heading towards that path. I don't think we're too far off.
Yeah, no.
I think this kicked it off. It is from here. You could easily end up in the place like that in the near distant future.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how that would impact teams being able to use like you wouldn't be able to have like the Michigan Wolverines, right? Because they have to be would they still be affiliated with the school? You know what I'm saying? If they're not, or is NCAA is that just going to be, nothing to do with that? They could still be backed by the university and still be or are they even going to be college students at that point? I don't know. I'm just thinking out of the box here. I don't know.
Right. It's a lot of questions that have to be answered, and they'll figure themselves out. I think we're okay. It'll be all like normal for the next 3, 4, 5 years, but it's coming down the road. You can see the writing on the wall.
I don't know if we can consider normal just like a high school senior foregoing their senior year to just go get the bag that much quicker. But I like it though. I mean, why not? You know what I'm saying? Like we all sit here, we all went to school 4 or 5, 6 years, whatever. Like you can't go to school for a year and get a degree, So for basketball, it's just like, what are we even doing at this point? Like these kids, I mean, they go out there, they putting their health on the line in some situations. They might be a knee injury away from, NBA dream. So it's like,
I hate the NCAA, but that's actually an NBA rule that they can't modify. So, it's the NCAA gets blamed for that. They're just, they're benefiting from it. It's not their rule though. And then the NBA caused that issue, and then they turn around and become the savior when they say, "Oh, well, we'll let you play in a G League for less money."
Yeah,
they should be able to just go make the bag anyway. Right. So they're getting screwed around in a couple of different ways, even more than the NCAA.
Yeah,
Yeah, even for the G League, they have to be 18, right, for that draft, or is it the NBA draft? Isn't there a late age limit for the G League draft? Or no?
Cutoff. I know for the NBA draft because Imani Bates reclassified, and he turns. If you got to turn 18 by a specific month in order to be eligible for that draft, and he misses that by 2 months, so he wouldn't even be able to come out until 2023. Which is just kind of crazy. I'm not really sure what it is for the G League though, but I feel like it might be around like you got to be at least like 18 to participate in that as well. I think they had a guy, Kuminga, went to Golden State. He was like 18 in like 6 months or something, so he's like just like missed the deadline, which is kind of crazy.
Minga is the cum bucket per Twitter. I will never not call him that.
I saw that. Yeah, that's wild. They kind of sucks, but
Yeah. Hope it works out for him though. Hope it works out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Top 10 lottery pick.
I mean, out there.
Yeah. And I saw it on Twitter a couple of days back, and I was just like, wow, like who even thought of that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but yeah, it's another example of why Twitter is the best app on the planet.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, no, we Debbie kind of brought up just like, what schools will have to do as far as just, conference change up, things along those lines. We've already kind of seen Texas and Oklahoma just bounce. They pretty much said they're done with the Big 12. Big 12 is probably done. They've lost like 4 or 6 schools now in the last 7-8 years, something like that. They had a couple of schools come in there, and obviously replace other schools. But yeah, I mean, I think what are y'all's thoughts on just what that'll look like for the Big Ten? And overall, Big Ten, Michigan State fans. What do you guys think? You think it'll be like? I'm guessing it's going to be like 20, damn near 20 teams of conference or alliance, whatever it's going to kind of look like, and then there ain't going to be no more let's just try to schedule Western Michigan. You're going to have to play top talent every week of the season in order to get that nod. At least that's what I think is going to be the biggest change when it comes down to all that. But yeah, what do you all think as far as the teams or schools starting to kind of make moves and wanting to kind of play in different conferences?
I think it's great for the college football fans. Like you mentioned, Grant, you're going to have, if a bunch of teams come to the Big Ten and a bunch continue to go to the SEC, I mean, you're going to have, look what we got week 1 college football matchup this week to start the season, Clemson and Georgia. I mean, that's a matchup that you would see in November. And we're going to have matchups like that every week. So, and I think that's just going to continue to grow as these conferences sort of merge or dissolve or, whatever you want to call it. So I think it's going to be fun for the college football fans, and it'll give us here at Siege, a run for our money here to try to get all those big time games, because you got so many people betting those, and it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. What are you all's thoughts?
No, I'm personally a little I don't want to say a little worried, but I as being a Big Ten fan in general, obviously I'm a Michigan fan, Big Ten fan. I root for the health of the conference, I should say. Yeah. And I'm a little worried. I think that Big Ten has to make some type of moves. I think last time we brought in it would have been Nebraska and I don't know, what was it, Rutgers and all of them that year. Obviously Nebraska didn't pan out. They were much better before they came in our conference. Yeah. I kind of think we are leaving them out there on an island, being the only school out there. If we were to potentially go get a school in Texas or another school out west, it would help them in their recruiting to say, hey, you could have another local game. But they're kind of just out there stranded. So I kind of think they're irrelevant to the health of our conference unless we get somebody else out there. I kind of think the SEC is, they're throwing their weight around. And when you consider bringing in those 2 big of schools, I know that they break up all the bowl money. So when all the whoever makes the bowl games, they add up all the money in the conference, they break it up. When you add those two schools are going to be in the mix every year, along with every other SEC school. That's a lot of money coming in, which is going to have a bigger effect on, facilities and then which ultimately have an effect on recruiting.
Yeah.
So I just kind of think that you have to make moves if you're in the Big Ten. That's kind of my personal opinion. And I would say go out and probably get some schools in the Pac-12 or Pac-12 out west.
Yeah.
I would get like probably USC, UCLA, something like that, and just try to expand your imprint out west.
Man, can you imagine like just Michigan traveling to USC every other year, or like Michigan State going to like Washington? Just like that's a conference game. Like that's like something that's in the calendar, like at least 2, 3, 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You guys think Notre Dame will have to like, finally just nut up and join a conference, or what do you all think?
Yeah, they'll be forced to.
I think so.
I don't see why it wouldn't be the Big Ten, though. I know they're in the ACC right now, but the Big Ten would generate way more money. They have the most money by far out of any conference.
Hope them traveling too.
Right. Traveling's a lot closer. And it's just something about, all of this is a money grab for every conference.
Yeah.
So and Notre Dame's no different. They are independent because they have their own NBC, home games.
Yep.
They're making a lot of money off that. So it'd be logical for them to go to the Big Ten, generate more money. It's not a big deal to change a conference from the ACC to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they'll be forced. They'll have to.
Yeah, it's pretty much no brainer at this point. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, I think it's going to be pretty sure it's going to be like what ACC, SEC, Big Ten, and then Pac-12.
Maybe Big 12, Pac-12 merge a little bit.
Yeah.
Big Ten might match. I don't know.
I feel like it's either going to be like the Pac-12 or the Big 12, and it's just going to be like
Mm-hmm.
not a thing. So.
And Gonzaga has to join one of them for basketball.